Hello there, it's story time. Ready for chapter 2 in our new book, Junie B. Jones is a Graduation Girl? Chapter 2, remember, was called Rhymes. All right, I sat at my table very nice. Mrs. passed out colored paper to make our invitations with. Remember they were making invitations for their graduation? Also, she passed out curly ribbon and lace and glue and bottles of sparkly glitter. Just as a reminder, she said, we do not glue glitters on our eyebrows, and we do not put lace up our noses. And above all, we do not glue curly ribbon to our heads and pretend that it's long hair. She looked and looked at me. I squirmed around in my seat a little bit, 'cause that woman has a memory like a hawk, I tell you. Finally, Mrs. went to the board and she picked up her marker. On the inside of our cards, we're going to write a poem about graduation. Does anyone have any ideas for our first sentence in our poem? My friend Grace waved her hand all around in the air. Roses are red, she called out. Yes, hollered room 9, roses are red. Mrs. smiled and she wrote it on the board for us. Okay, now what about the second line, she asked. Room 9 hollered again. Violets are blue, violets are blue. Mrs. wrote that line too. Very good, class, she said. Now who can think of a third line? Maybe we should try to mention something about graduation in this one. Does anyone have any ideas? Shy William stood up next to his table and he said kind of nervous, Graduation is here? Mrs. grinned real big. Excellent job, William, excellent. She printed it on the board. All right, let's just do one more line. Let's try to make the last word rhyme with the word blue, okay? She read the first 3 lines out loud to us. Roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here. Room 9 thought and thought. Then all of a sudden, rhymes started coming out from all over the place. My dress will be new, said Lucille. My dad's name is Lou, called Jamal Hall. We made it, woohoo, called Lenny. Just then, Paulie Allen Puffer springed right out of his chair and he started laughing his head off. And then he shouted, the zoo is P.U. And then all of room 9 laughed our heads off too, 'cause P.U. is the silliest rhyme we ever heard of. Mrs. clapped her mad hands together. Boys and girls, that's enough. She hurried to Paulie Allen Puffer's table and she put him back in his seat. I do not appreciate that kind of behavior, young man, she said. We're trying to write a nice class poem here. And your rhyme was inappropriate. After that, I tried to stop giggling, but that silly poem just kept staying inside my head. And then out of nowhere, another funny poem popped right into my brain. I tried, but I couldn't even hold it inside me. I quick jumped up out of my chair and said, roses are red, violets are blue, graduation is here and your feet smell like stink. After that, room 9 could not even control themselves again, 'cause that poem was the funniest one they had ever heard. My teacher's eyes got big and wide at me. Junie B. Jones, didn't you hear a word I just said? Then Mrs. hurried to my table. She took me into the hall. And then she pointed me straight to the principal's office. That's not a good way to end chapter 2, is it? Let's see what chapter 3 is called. A good chuckle. A chuckle's like a laugh. Well, we'll have to see what happens with Junie B. Jones. I'll see you tomorrow for story time.